I wasn't expecting that. I know, Brandon, what I'm about to say, you were not expecting. But WWE announced just shortly before the recording of this week's edition of our show, WWE SummerSlam, not this year, because that's in Cleveland, we already know. And not next year, we don't know where that is yet. But the year after that, 2026, is going to be from US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And to top it all off, telling us about a pay-per-view PLE event that is very far in the future, but it is going to be 2 nights. Now, Brandon, I just want to get your kind of initial thoughts when you saw this, because you probably originally thought, well, that's next year's SummerSlam before reading the dates. But just on your thoughts of why WWE is letting us know about SummerSlam a good 28 months before the show.
To me it's very odd, because we don't even have next year's SummerSlam, the location reveal.
We don't even have this upcoming Royal Rumble's location reveal.
Yeah, like this is
or Survivor Series of 2024.
I think it's very odd. Obviously, if they're putting it out there this far in advance, that tells me that SummerSlam is going to be bananas, and they're probably already booking talent that's not in WWE, or like some celebrities, or they're getting The Rock ready. They're probably booking all these things out.
You can't be booking this, because again, you have 2 SummerSlams to book before you get to that SummerSlam. You have 2 WrestleManias to book. Let's not just forget, this isn't again next SummerSlam. This is after WrestleMania 42. Okay?
Oh, I agree. I think we're
a year away from WrestleMania 41.
Well, I get that, but I think with somebody like The Rock or like a John Cena, for example, like they're already booked up for a long time. So like, I'm not saying that's the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're already saying to those guys like, hey, we just announced SummerSlam 2026, or maybe they even already talked to them about it before they did the. I
just can't imagine that. I mean, again, where this shows me that I clearly don't know how far in advance WWE knows about things, because clearly I wasn't expecting this announcement. I have to say, without looking at the books here, I can't think that WWE has ever announced a pay-per-view event, its location, its date, its time, so far in advance than this one. The closest thing I can think about was coming out of the pandemic, when they were announcing multiple WrestleManias in a row. But even with that, WrestleMania 39 was announced about 26 months prior to it taking place. WrestleMania 39 was announced just before WrestleMania 37. So we're still about 4 months away from this year's SummerSlam, maybe 3.5 months, if you will, from this year's SummerSlam. So this trumps that announcement by just a few months, maybe a few weeks.
Let me ask you this, because obviously we have no idea where 2025 is at this point. We can just speculate.
2026, remember, 2026.
I know that, but I mean, like, for 2026, I know we're in Minneapolis, but like, where do you think we're going in 2025?
I mean, a better question is where are we going for WrestleMania of 2026? Because here's the thing, Minneapolis, this was the big thing. Everybody thought they were going to get WrestleMania this upcoming year, WrestleMania 41, right? They didn't get it. Las Vegas got it. Everyone's all but assuming they were the runners up. So I was thinking, okay, Minneapolis, that's your home for the following year's WrestleMania, so not the one in Las Vegas, right? So that makes me put into question, well, why, if they're putting SummerSlam in this? So essentially they're telling Minneapolis, we've got you with a big event. We know that we had you down for WrestleMania, but we couldn't get you WrestleMania. Las Vegas was too big of a draw, too big of an apple to get off of this tree. So that makes me wonder then, what is it exactly they have in store for the WrestleMania after? Because they're pretty much telling Minneapolis, sorry, you're not in the cards for WrestleMania, not next year, not the year after. So that makes me really think here that there's some options for WrestleMania 42, and I'm thinking of 3. I'm thinking of Saudi Arabia. I'm thinking of Las Vegas again.
Wait. You think Saudi Arabia? I don't see it happening.
Again, I'm not talking, we're not talking WrestleMania upcoming. We're talking in the future. And if Minneapolis, here's my thing. If they already know US Bank Stadium is hosting a major event, but it's not hosting WrestleMania, why not? right? Why are they already out of the running for WrestleMania 26? They were in the running for WrestleMania 41. Why are they out of the running for WrestleMania 42 already? That's what I'm just saying. It's like saying, hey, if you're out of the running for this upcoming U.S. presidential election, that's one thing. But to tell me you're out of the running for the next one that's not even a thought yet, you know what I mean? So it's like we haven't even thought about WrestleMania 42 yet, but we know you're out of the running already. Like, they must already be thinking about WrestleMania 42.
Let me ask you this: for WrestleMania in 2026 or 42, I could see it honestly. I could see it going down to Florida.
I could actually, so I mean, because again, I guess my thing is because of the fact that Minneapolis is out of the running, it makes me think about the traditional places maybe being out of the running because of the fact that they've got some things in mind like that are bigger and better than just a big city like Minneapolis. So like I said, the three places I got Saudi Arabia, right? Because that's on the table. We talked about that in previous episodes. I've got Las Vegas again, right? Yeah. Las Vegas just took away WrestleMania from Minneapolis, right? And it's always been there, and it was there for SummerSlam a couple of years ago. But all of a sudden, with the TKO Endeavor situation, Las Vegas is this new big draw. We've got NXT happening from the UFC Apex coming up pretty soon. So Las Vegas is this new big thing where it's just like, that's the entertainment capital. We got to make sure we're running shows out of there like on a regular basis, essentially. Makes me think that, and we saw it a couple of years ago. Remember, SummerSlam 2021 was in Las Vegas, and at SummerSlam, they were announcing Money in the Bank was coming back to Allegiant Stadium to essentially start this like yearly tradition, like AEW is doing with All In out in London. They're like, hey, let's make Allegiant Stadium like a yearly stadium show. It didn't work out with Money in the Bank, but it could be with WrestleMania.
So Minneapolis for me, obviously it's been announced. They're going to be at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis for SummerSlam 26. The more I think about it, if I had to ponder a guess, I mean, obviously I just mentioned Florida just a moment ago, but I could see them WWE going to Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for WrestleMania that year.
Like I said, like I could see that. Anytime, right? That's a reasonable expectation. But I guess this announcement has just thrown me to such a direction that makes me think that traditional things that I'm thinking about when it comes to where WrestleMania would be are not essentially being thought about. Like, meaning again, Minneapolis, if we're already telling you that you're out of the running for WrestleMania, well, I don't think Minneapolis should be below Atlanta. Right? If you were just saying that Minneapolis was second place for next year's WrestleMania, and now you're saying that we already know that you're second place for the year after before we even have another, I think if Minneapolis is second to Las Vegas, then that means that there must be something out of the box for the following year to tell us. So if it's going to just be Atlanta the following year, then Minneapolis has a gripe and saying, hey, I get it, we're not Las Vegas, but you're picking Atlanta over us. You're picking Florida
it could be London?
I'm thinking it's something, like I said, it's something out of the box. It's something where it's showing that, hey, this year you were in the running, and if you're not in the running next year, that's because we've already got something big planned. If you're just going back to MetLife Stadium, or you're going to the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, or you're even going to Atlanta, I mean, then that's really just makes me wonder, like, why Minneapolis was thought about to host WrestleMania. I guess that's just the thing, right? WrestleMania, Minneapolis was a lock to host WrestleMania, and now it's hosting SummerSlam. In future years, it's really making me think.
Well, let me ask you this. If I was just let's thinking about London, for example. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they go to Wembley though. I would think they would go to like Old Trafford or something.
Well, here's the thing. So Old Trafford is in Manchester. That's in Manchester and not London, right? I don't think they'd go there. I think they'd go to London. But yeah, there's multiple stadiums in London. That's the thing too. There's multiple stadiums. People forget they have tons of those soccer stadiums that are like of the same capacity. Wembley's the more famous one, I guess. But I mean, you have the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You have London Stadium. You have all these other, and in the NFL, when they go there every single year, it's like they're going to a different stadium. They're not even going to the same one every year. They're not. I don't even know if they've done football at Wembley, NFL style at least. You know what I mean? Because they've been going to all these other places. They go to Chelsea and these others. So there's definitely a lot of available London stadiums.
I mean,
that can host 70,000.
Let's see. I'm looking here. I might be butchering this, so I apologize for our UK audience. Twickenham Stadium has 82,000 capacity. That's in London. I'm just thinking a bigger.
You might be butchering that.
Place.
I don't know. I don't know. Moving on though, let's move on from the stadium because we got that kind of talked about, right? Here's another. Again, this is why this is such a big announcement. This is not just a stadium announcement that seems weird and random. We're moving on to then 2-night SummerSlam. Okay, now I don't know if 2-night SummerSlam is going to. By SummerSlam time, that'll be a normal thing because, again, this is so far in the future that by then we could be on our second or third 2-night Royal Rumble. That's how crazy this is. We could have two-night Royal Rumbles in the past by the time we get to this SummerSlam. I mean, so not saying that that's on the table, but really by the time this so far in the future, who the hell knows? SummerSlam could be the new WrestleMania by the time we get there. Who knows, right?
Here's my guess with SummerSlam, though. It's, if they're presenting it for 2026 as a 2-night event, then it's going to be the first of its kind for SummerSlam. I don't think. Obviously, 2024, we already know that's in Cleveland. That's a 1-night affair. Next year, at a location TBD, I don't think that's a 2-night either. I think if they're going out of their way to book this as far out as they are, the plans are that they're going to make that the first 2-night event and make it special, which is why they released this so far out in advance.
I mean, that could very well be the case. I guess my thing is, with SummerSlam, I don't really understand. Like, WrestleMania, I kind of could understand it, especially too. It was born out of COVID, and then the year before it was so long, and you can kind of understand where they even got the idea. With a 2-night, where are you even getting the idea for 2-night SummerSlam? Yeah,
very odd.
Who watched SummerSlam in any year in the last ever, and any SummerSlam existence, and said that was too long, we needed divided over 2 nights? I just don't see it, right? Last year's SummerSlam was fine lengths. I haven't seen it. And more importantly too, right? And I thought about this as well. This year's SummerSlam and last year's SummerSlam and the year before that SummerSlam, while they do run these stadiums, they're not running the stadiums like they are WrestleMania to full capacity. They are selling one side of the Cleveland Browns Stadium as of right now. They have sold, as of this moment, 45,000 tickets. I think they put on sale 50,000 tickets. The stadium can hold around 70,000. All right. So there's a good 20,000 seats they're not even putting on sale for this year's SummerSlam. And we all saw Nissan Stadium. Everybody noticed the big tarps on the other side of the field. Last year, they did not sell the capacity of Ford Field like they did in WrestleMania years. At WrestleMania 23 at the same venue, they got about 50-ish thousand. When WrestleMania there got 80,000. So my point is, what is the plan? If we're running 2 nights, why not? When it comes to attendance, are they going to sell out the full stadium for 2 nights? Are we going to do it like a half for 2 nights? So is the idea that we want more people? Is the idea that we want more matches? I just don't see the demand. It's literally something I don't think really anyone has asked for. I've never heard anybody say, and I've heard people say about WrestleMania in the past. I didn't agree with them, but I heard them say it. I haven't heard anyone say SummerSlam really needs to be 2 nights. I haven't heard that.
We've never
pay-per-views
this
right now. Yeah.
We've never discussed this, dude. It's not something we've even
never been something that's needed. We talk about AEW pay-per-views having 10, 12 matches on the card, right? WWE as of late has had 5 matches on the card, and we thought those are great, right? We thought those are great ideas. We haven't had any complaints about the length or structure of a WWE card as of late. So with a SummerSlam card, I never thought that this needs to be 2 nights. This should be 2 nights. I think it's
over the top. Here's the thing, too, and I'm with you. I've gone back and forth over the years of us doing this together and just talking about the business. And I don't really care for 2-night pay-per-views, to be honest with you. I feel like it takes away from one night, so to speak, one versus the other. It gets people, it drives up the price for people because then they have to go to both shows. Like, why would you go to one versus the other? So for me, and I think it makes it more of an event if it's a one night extravaganza, and that's it. That goes for WrestleMania, that goes for SummerSlam. So I am on board with just the 1 night of each pay-per-view. That's just me.
And WrestleMania, again, it's an anomaly, it's its own thing. But like I said, with SummerSlam being this way, I could easily see because the Royal Rumble is kind of built. Not saying I would like that. I like that there's 2 Royal Rumbles on one show. I like that 66% of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view is a Royal Rumble, right? I like that when I walk in the door, I'm watching a Royal Rumble basically for the whole 3 hours. I like that. But again, if SummerSlam's going to be 2 hours, I mean, it seems like a matter of time before Royal Rumble is going to be 2 nights, right? If that's going to be 2 nights. So it's just one of these kind of things like, it's so far in the future, and then it has this weird caveat of being 2 nights. It just makes you wonder, like, what are we in store for in the next couple of years? Where will SummerSlam be? Will SummerSlam be like WrestleMania more than it is now? I know it's the WrestleMania of the summer, but will it truly be like WrestleMania? I mean, we have no idea. It's so far in the future. The 2-night concept is brand new. And some people are wondering too, could the 2-night concept just be because Minneapolis has been told you're not getting a WrestleMania, but hey, you really did want to get that 2-night kind of thing coming to your stadium. So it's literally like telling you, hey, you're not getting WrestleMania. You're not getting a 2-night worth at this stadium event, right? You're not getting it now. You're not getting it never. You're just never going to get that, right? We've already thought about these ideas. Saudi Arabia's got way too much money, but this is a consolation, and as a consolation, we'll make SummerSlam 2 nights for you so that you can essentially get the same revenue in your city. SummerSlam's not going to be 2 nights for everybody else, but because, it's essentially, like I said, it's essentially telling Minneapolis, you're never getting WrestleMania. We're going to take WrestleMania in a different direction. If this was 10 years ago, you'd have gotten WrestleMania, but unfortunately, you're in the time frame of what WWE is thinking about doing right now, like the Saudi Arabia stuff, like the London stuff, like maybe even WrestleMania being 3 nights in 3 cities. Who knows where WrestleMania is going? But they know where it's going, and they know so well about where it is going that they can already say that US Bank Stadium is not going to be able to handle it. That's what they know. They just know, hey, we don't know where we know where WrestleMania is going. The fans don't know, but we can tell you that it can't be here in Minneapolis based on where it's going. We can tell you that much. And to kind of put a bow on this, fans are I saw somebody post, mock main events for what they expect to be, with Brock Lesnar coming back, Minneapolis. Let me just remind you that it was 24 months when they announced where WrestleMania 39 was going to be, right before WrestleMania 37. Now, WrestleMania 39 was headlined and main evented by Cody Rhodes in his second WrestleMania. When they announced that WrestleMania was going to be in Los Angeles, Cody Rhodes wasn't a part of the company and frankly was a very distant rumor to be returning to the company. So for you to speculate what the main event of SummerSlam 2026 could be, it could be Jake Paul, it could be Mike Tyson.
The breaks.
Yes.
That's what I said.
It could, you talk about Liv Morgan, you talk about Brock. I mean, who has it? It could be Bryan Danielson. It could be MJF in the middle of a historic reign, right? He could be about to supersede Roman Reigns' championship reign by the time this summer. I mean, this is so far in the future, right? So, literally, think of a celebrity who doesn't even know anything about WWE, and they could be involved, right? We see with Logan Paul how he went from by the nothing to where he is now. So there could be a Logan Paul somewhere out there that we don't know about yet, right? Somebody down that hasn't even debuted in NXT as of right now could be the main event of that SummerSlam. No idea. It's just random. Like I said, the furthest in the future WWE has ever made an announcement. So to add in the fact that it was a WrestleMania host potential city, to add that it is so far in the future, and to add that it is 2 nights, it really came out of the blue. But hey, Triple H, he's got some plans going, I guess.